women potentially do feel like when we express ourselves that we sound like potentially Kevin Samuels. Can we understand that, or is that something a bit alien to us, or do we need to try and have more conversation to understand where it comes from, or do we already understand where or do we really think we know where those comparisons are coming from? Who wants to go first on that one? Go on then. Go on then, Onu. You're looking in the sky, mate. Go on. Go on.
I don't know how to answer that question. I, I'm not. Man,
Okay,
I
first of
guess
all, do you understand? First of all, do you understand where women are coming from when they label some of us, even us who are trying to be, explain it a better way? Do you understand where it's coming from? Maybe.
I'm I'm trying to understand where it's coming from. I think right now, I think the key thing now post COVID is trying to understand why men think the way they do. I'm now I'm seeing you're seeing all these I'm seeing all these YouTube shows and seeing articles and exactly men, but women, but men explaining how men actually have to think. I think what's shocking is women understanding how I want to say juvenile, but archaic men think at times, or just how simplistic it can be, even if it comes out looking like a jerk. They're expecting these thought off articulate responses, but sometimes but for the most part, most men are kind of simple to a degree, and it's typically you can answer the question within like 5 or 10 words. It doesn't need this elaborate thought. And when you go in these top spaces, you're hearing people spend 30 minutes, spend an hour, 2 hours trying to explain the way guys think, but you can sum it down to, let's say, 15, 20 words. That's pretty much equivalent to the majority of men that you see. There are exceptions to the rules, but at the same time, men aren't as complicated as women think to be.
Love that point. Love that point. Corey, what's your thoughts on this particular question? Can we understand maybe where the women are coming from in terms of them kind of comparing us to Kevin Samuels in the thought process and stuff like that when we talk about our preferences and stuff like that?
I think one of the bigger things that came out when kids came to the tube and everywhere else is the fact that he's very outspoken and direct. And now more men are starting to find that voice within themselves to be a little bit more outspoken and direct. But it's really leveling the playing ground, because women have always been direct as far as how they feel, as far as what they want in a man. Now men are starting to do that as well. We see that as now, okay, someone has set it up for it to be safer for men to be a little bit more outspoken when it comes to their desires, needs of the heart. So for me, I think that's something that some women have a problem with, because being direct can be hurtful sometimes. But they have to understand as well that their version of direct can also be hurtful. Approaching a man, approaching a woman, that's a big deal. It's hard for me to do. So when a guy approaches you, don't look at him and say, "Ugh, why are you even talking to me? That's mean. That's disrespectful." You can think it. You can think it, but to say that to someone, it can be a little bit rude. So for those women who do that, it's a right way and a wrong way to do things. I can be there towards one and get my point across without being rude towards them. So I think that women should have a better understanding of what it means to be direct versus what it means to be rude. So me being direct is not always going to equal rude. But yeah, some women do have problems with it.
Totally hit up. Good points, bro. I'm hearing you on that. Sean, what's your thoughts in regards to this particular question? Corey and both Corey and Anya have explained it quite well. But what's your perspective on this? Can you understand where women are coming from when sometimes they compare us to Kevin Samuels?
I can understand it. I just don't necessarily agree with it. I think that what Kevin Samuels has done, it's not like he's created this narrative and he's making up a whole set of things. And I think that's what makes him so popular to his subscribers, which are primarily men, is that he's saying what many of us have thought in in um in some terms, right? And again, not all of us, but for certain aspects, he's speaking for us. So it's like we have a person who's almost like the spokesperson for the way that men feel. Now, the other aspect of it is his approach, the women that get on, the way that he talks to them. That stuff is, what many of us disagree with that approach, right? And that's what a lot of the ladies may gravitate towards as being toxic or offensive. So if we happen to say something that is similar to his talking points, or now we are associated with him. But it's, my problem is, it's like, I don't necessarily have to be a fan of Kevin Samuels to say some things that he said, because he is a man and speak